So there's this game called Destiny 2. I played it when it came out at launch, played through the story. I enjoyed it quite a bit, but then when I was done, I was just kind of done. Fast forward a year and a half, 2 years, they released 3 different expansions. And I was like, you know what? I want to play those. I've been super into the game lately, and I've been watching these live streams that the developer did, and they said something that I found very interesting. Destiny is kind of like an MMO. So it's an ongoing game and you can continually play it over and over and over again. And they were talking about this renewed focus on making the game for the people who make Destiny their preferred hobby. And I was thinking about that term, preferred hobby. And when you think of a hobby, what do you think of? Like playing basketball, ballroom dance, bingo, whatever it happens to be, right? But when you think about video games, it's thought of as a hobby, but it has such a negative connotation. Maybe not anymore, but at least for most of my life, video games have had a negative connotation, and it just seems like this complete waste of time. Even to some degree, the people who actually play games. Like for me, well, just the term preferred hobby was just such a weird, I've never heard anybody say that before, and it just stuck out in my mind. It's like, what is my preferred hobby? Like, what would I do in my free time if I could do anything? And what would most consistently give me the most satisfaction and joy? And my answer wouldn't be any one game like your Destinies or World of Warcraft. It wouldn't be video games as a whole either. Video games for me, they don't provide this endless satisfaction the way some other things do. In fact, I would probably say that my preferred hobby is making videos. That is the only thing in my life that is like this endlessly renewable resource of entertainment and satisfaction. Maybe not so much entertainment, but satisfaction, where I'm like, it is completely reliable that making a video will give me a sense of satisfaction that is always pretty high. I'm just always really excited to make it, finish it, watch it. But the thing about a hobby like that is that there's no stigma attached to that. If I told somebody that doing something constructive is my preferred hobby, the one that I will go to and spend the most time on, nobody will bat an eyelash. And in fact, it'd be like, oh yeah, that's great that you've got that interest that you really like. That's admirable. That makes you an interesting person, blah, blah, blah. And I guess what I'm thinking about is a couple of things. One, is that stigma cultural, or is that stigma born from the fact that you're not doing anything constructive, so to speak? The reason why I kind of lean towards it being cultural is that reading as a hobby does not have that stigma against it, even though it's the same thing. You are absorbing something else that somebody else created. And the other thing that kind of like has been mulling in my mind is that if you're a creator, like if you created Destiny, people would look at you and be like, oh, that's great, you created this awesome thing. Oh man, you got a real job, you work hard, you made this great thing. But then if you're one of those people who plays like 500 hours a month of Destiny or World of Warcraft, you're looked at as loser, you don't spend time on real pursuits. But the thing is, without people playing the game, making the game is meaningless. It's like all of that is a transaction. So to stigmatize one half of the transaction, even though that part of the transaction is necessary for the other part that's not stigmatized and that is even lauded, is just it's a weird thing, and I've been thinking about it, and I don't really have any point to this other than that I just find it very weird. Anyway, I really do like making some videos. I do not like having to render the same video like 5 times in a row because we keep discovering that there's some either mistake or some credits that weren't put in, and it's like, I just want to be able to use my computer to do something besides render, like make a new video. But I will say, if that's the biggest problem I have right now, I'm doing pretty good. other day when I was talking about how the sequel to this game, which is this game, was finally ported to this system? Well, it turns out they just used an actual ROM of a Super Nintendo game. Somebody extracted that, put it on my little Super NT here, and I'm about to play Trials of Mana, Seiken Densetsu 3, translated into English in the year 2019. Anything is possible! This is a revelation. I really can't understate how weird it is that this is actually a thing. It's crazy. It is crazy god. Look at that. That is English. I speak English relatively well. Trials of Mana. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, stereo and mono.